Hello, I'm Lavanya Ramakrishnan and I'm a staff scientist at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. So what makes an effective lightning talk? An effective lightning talk is a pitch or an advertisement for the poster and for your work. Think about an ad on television. It tells you something that will attract you to go seek out the product and learn more. It's a small snippet of information. It's not the whole story. The audience in your talk is basically sitting there and thinking, why should I care? Based on your audience, this can be why is this important, or why is it different, or what's cool in this work. If you have 1 minute for your lightning talk, write down one piece of information you want to get across, and the rest of that 1 minute is going to be context for that statement. If you have 5 minutes, you could write down maybe 2 or 3 things. Remember, you don't have to say everything. One last piece of advice I have is the amount of preparation time for a talk is almost inversely proportional to duration of your talk. The shorter the talk, the more you have to prepare for it. If you have 1 hour for your talk, you can improvise a little bit. If you have a 30-minute talk, you have to know roughly what the things you're going to say are. If you have 1 minute, there's almost no time for thinking or processing there, and you really need to know exactly what words you're going to use. Now, let's say you have managed to hook people to your work and they show up to your poster. So what makes an effective poster or poster presentation? An effective poster and poster presentation focuses on engaging in a conversation. Unlike paper presentation, this is much more a two-way conversation. The poster itself is, again, another advertisement. People who are walking by might glance at your poster and hook onto something that they find interesting and they want to come and talk to you about it. It's also a visual aid as you talk about your high-level points. Less is more in this case as well, where less words, lots of visual aids, and try and be very mindful of how you use the space on a poster. A good poster presentation will give the highlight gist and engage the audience and solicit feedback on your work. Again, thinking of the key points is useful here. The first opening presentation should be short, concise, but show technical depth. And then you can gauge what the audience is interested in and get into specific things. Posters are often work in progress, so it's also important to be clear what is the vision, what has been done, and what still needs to be done.
Hi, I'm Elsa Gonzarowski from Lawrence Livermore National Lab in sunny California. What makes an effective lightning talk? I think an effective lightning talk needs a script. So edit down exactly what you can fit into 2 minutes. Ruthlessly edit out the points you want to make, and then memorize at least the first 2 sentences, and then let it happen. Repeat the script over and over, and when you get to your talk, it'll be great. What makes an effective poster and poster presentation? A great poster, I think, has big words, so no paragraphs of text, but big words, a clear problem statement, clear piece of work that went into it, and then clear conclusion. So use pictures and colors when possible, but not too crowded with boxes and gradients and extra stuff, but just be concise and effective, and a well-designed poster will go a long way. And then in your poster presentation, you can include as many words as you want. Again, have a script, or at least write a script once, even if you don't read it. At least you'll figure out what you're trying to say. So I always find it helps to write everything down. Sounds great.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Hartman-Baker. I'm the User Engagement Group Leader at NERSC at Lawrence Berkeley Lab in Berkeley, California. Regarding a lightning talk, I really think the important thing is to understand that you have such a short amount of time to present that every word is valuable. So practicing what you're going to say is very important, making sure that it will all fit in timing wise too. It's almost like a dramatic, like drama, like almost like a poem. Like write it out as if it were a poem and recite it. That's kind of what you're going to have to do on a lightning talk. As for posters, what makes a good poster is 2 things. First of all, having a good poster itself. So a poster that is not busy, that has very few words on it, that has pictures that are clear to people such as someone who's not an expert in your field, but who is interested in finding out what you're doing. Another important thing is to have a good pitch to explain to the poster attendee why they should care about the work that you're doing, what makes it important, interesting, exciting. Developing that pitch will serve you well as well when you try to apply for jobs and you need to explain to someone. It's called a classic elevator pitch. So in a minute or less, explain to the CEO while you're both going up the elevator what you do in that company and why your work is important. So developing that not only will help you in the poster session, but it'll also help you in your career.
Hi, I'm Fernanda Foertter, and I work at Oak Ridge National Lab in the User Assistance Group, and I'm going to talk to you about what makes a great poster and also a great presentation. So for me, the first thing that really makes a great poster is lots of pictures, because it's something that can catch your eye from far, and as usually people are walking around maybe with some hors d'oeuvres or a drink, they can gauge whether or not this is something they like to, have a conversation about. One of the things that I like to do when I do a poster is to gauge the level of understanding or whether or not a person understands the concept I'm trying to describe. So I'll usually say something like, are you familiar with, and then whatever that might be. And that way I can tone down the lingo if somebody's not familiar with it so I don't lose them, or I can go more in depth with somebody that may understand it and have a different conversation altogether. Another thing I like is to give people an out. So I'll do usually a pitch, and that usually means for me, I'll start off with, well, I'm studying this, and this is important because, and if you like, I can tell you more about this part and how I've gone into detail with this. And that way, people aren't sort of stuck. If you've ever been to a poster session where you're stuck and you don't understand what the person's saying because they're going too much in depth in a technical, or you just found out you're not really interested. It seemed interesting at first, but then it's not really interesting now. I like to give people an out as they sort of step away and say, well, no, I think this is enough. Thank you so much. And they move away. And when I do the pitch, speaking of the pitches, I like to start with the conclusion. So I'll start with, I'm studying this. Are you familiar with this? And then I'll start with, well, we found this. And I can tell you more about that if you like. And so I'll go into the this, of course, is a very nice rehearsed conclusion. We found that this method works better in this scenario, and if you like, I can tell you more about how we found that out. And then that way it gives again the people that out, but I've also given them what I'm studying and also the punchline. And so at the very least, they get those two things. I'm happy that I've presented at least the main idea of my poster or my presentation. And then I'll go into the details if they want to know more. Anyway, those are my tips for a great presentation. Less words, more pictures. If they're equations, make sure they're labeled. Lots of colors. Color coding things are amazing because I think people remember a little better when you color code them. And if you want to have words, have a really quick and to the point, succinct intro and a succinct conclusion. And in the middle, it needs to be lots of pictures and lots of diagrams and lots of ways that you can describe. And then one last tip I like to have is give them a card, whether it's your business card or maybe even a page. Sometimes people will give a paper that the poster is related to and some of the work. Give them a page that says, or maybe even a page printout of your own poster. Here, you can find out more if you like. You can take a page. That's another great way where people can, learn more about what you've done. So those are my tips. Have a good presentation, good poster. I wish I could be there, but I can't. And enjoy your time at ISC. Thanks.